What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to The Den. If you don't know, The Den is the best conversation on the internet. Join us live every night at 10 p.m. Central where we discuss the topics of the day and whatever else is going on in the world. You can call into the Denline, share your thoughts and opinion with the rest of the Den degenerates, the denizens, the friends in the Den, and most of all the Den folks. I am your host, Honcho, man, and we're going to talk about some things that are going on in this world. And I'm going to clarify some stuff because a lot of people who come here, they say that I'm homophobic or that I hate gay people or things like this. No, it's not the case at all. I don't care at all. The same way I don't give a shit about a lot of these race-based issues that people try to make shit about, everything about race, this and race. I don't give a shit about a lot of these things, okay? The reason why I speak on these stories or I discuss these things is because I discuss it just like anything else, be white, black, gay, straight, Asian, pink, purple, whatever the fuck is going on. The reason I discuss these things is because my real issue is the fact that the gay rights movement is always so closely attached to black movements. And you can't, it seems like these days, support a black movement without supporting a gay movement. And I have nothing against gay people, I'm just not supporting the cause. I wish you well, I wish everybody well. I wake up every day, I have no hate in my heart. I don't hate anyone. That's a horrible way to be. I want everybody to have a happy life on this earth, but I'm not supporting any and everything. And if I'm not behind it, then I'm just not going to support it. I'm not going to undermine you. I'm not going to wish for your detriment or anything of that nature. But if I don't support it, I don't support it. And that's just that. The same way there's a lot of, pro-black shit that I've made videos about why I stopped supporting a lot of pro-black, quote-unquote, movements because of the misinformation and the bullshit that gets spread. So if you come over here and you're talking about, oh, you're homophobic and all this, man, keep that shit to yourself because it's not fucking true. I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. I just don't support everything that everybody else does. But as people, I love people. I separate people from their actions and their ideas, or at least I try my best to, unless certain things are horrific or certain things have a repetitive nature. So let's get into this story though. And I'm going to talk about why I'm discussing it and my problem with it because I find it to be a little confusing. So, Morehouse is a college, I believe, in Georgia, all-male school, HBCU, historically black colleges and universities. And that's a whole other conversation of what goes on a lot of these HBCUs. Some are better than others, but as a whole, they're not doing as well as they should be in a lot of categories. But this is not to undermine every HBCU, but a lot of them are not where they should be as far as promoting education is so much as a hangout spot. But anyway, we're going to read through this article. I'm going to give you my thoughts. There's actually a couple of articles concerning this topic. And I want to touch on, a couple of areas of this and what I think and why I think the way I do. But it says all-male Morehouse College to begin admitting transgender students in 2020. Okay, and I'm going to tell you why I have an issue with this. I find it to be very confusing, very odd. Anyway, Morehouse College, a historically black all-men school in Atlanta, will begin admitting transgender students who identify as men in 2020. And I'm not going to read it word for word. I'm just going to kind of hit on some keynotes as we run through it. New policy known as the Gender Identity Admissions and Matriculation Policy accepts all students who enroll into the private college by the fall 2020 semester. Students who enrolled before then are not grandfathered in. I guess, who knows? Anyway, the announcement comes after Spelman College, a historically black all-women school in Atlanta, adopted a similar policy. And again, I have to go check and I have to kind of do some more thorough research and see what other schools, if this is just HBCUs that are doing this, or if it's kind of a trend across the college spectrum, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But I just find it interesting, again, like I said, that we're tying into this thing. Anywho, and I'm not saying that transgender people shouldn't be allowed to get an education, but I think that, it's confusing. Like I say, the whole thing is always confusing to me. And so, if you're born a man and you don't identify as that, you don't feel comfortable with it, it is fine and dandy, whatever, you can get the same, I'm hoping you get the same education at a Morehouse that you would get at a Spelman. And go through your processes and, then do whatever you do after that. Because we got to talk about a lot of shit. So let's just go into it, and then I'll get more into the details of what I want to say. Let's just read the article. In a rapidly changing world that includes a better understanding of gender identity, I don't understand it, but we'll figure it out. We're proud to expand our admissions policy to consider trans men who want to be a part of an institution that's produced some of the greatest leaders in social justice, politics, business, and the arts for more than 150 years. Again, you look at this stuff and you wonder, is it really about being more inclusive, or is this about finding a way to make more money? Because a lot of these HBCUs have not been doing very well financially. And hey, this inclusivity, hey, we want to include your money with the rest of this money. So instead of just changing the entire policy of saying, okay, well, we're just going to let everybody in, because that's a break from tradition, but we can slide this other group in who identifies with us. And, we can keep the same policies that we've had for the most part, but hopefully it'll make us some more money. We'll see. Let's discuss it. Policy took 15 months of community engagement, faculty, staff, students, and alumni. Led a task force. Says students who are admitted to Morehouse are expected to self-identify as men throughout their education at Morehouse. Self-identify. What does that mean? Again, like I say, I'm sure there are people who, roll with it's a man. We've all seen that and everything else. We know that people take this very seriously. I've learned recently about dead naming that I didn't know that was a thing. In situations like this, right? But what happens when somebody decides? What happens if somebody graduates from Morehouse and then they change their identity? I've heard these people say, they switch. They have what's gender fluidity, right? So there is no gender. So what happens when you admit somebody who at one day they're fluid in gender, so they start off this way and that way. This is where I started getting confused with all these terms, with all this accepting everything. It gets confusing, right? So then it's almost like you're undermining your own policy. But let's carry on. Enrollment of 2,202, Institute of Policy 2009, banning against male students from wearing women's clothing. Oh, it only took 10 years to make a change, right? Makeup or high heels, which was called the appropriate attire policy. This move was in response to 5 gay students who said a school official at the time, said a school official at that time weren't dressing the way Morehouse men are expected to dress. So I showed you that picture in the beginning, and I'm assuming that was at Morehouse College. I don't know if that's the dress that they're expected to have, or I don't know. I don't even understand if there's a dress code on campus. I'll do some follow. We'll talk about it tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time, live from 10 to midnight every night. Plug. And whether you agree or whether you disagree, everybody's welcome in the den, because we take all calls, and I want y'all to understand. So if you're listening to this, you're like, I don't agree with anything you say, call in tonight, man. Like I say, we take all calls, all perspectives. What the den is about understanding everybody's views, or at least hearing everybody's views, so somebody may get clarification, somebody may get an understanding, and maybe I learn something. Because like I say, I'm not closed-minded to anybody. I just speak on what I know and what I understand, and a lot of these things I do not understand. So as we carry on, 2013, according to the school's newspaper, Morehouse began offering a course on Black LGBTQ history and culture. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Other historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, have a non-discrimination policies addressing gender identity. Tuskegee, Howard, Florida, A&M, Southern University, North Carolina, Central University, and Morgan State. And a lot of these, I think, they're not all male or all women's colleges, so that you can kind of do that. Again, I don't think it's the same as you're talking about an all male or all women's college. And again, you talk about Spelman, I believe they said did that, and so that's an all women's college. And then so you got dudes or trans men, I don't know which men, trans men, whatever. Because I get confused with who's doing what, if it's men who are transitioning, or how do you identify as what, but whatever. Let me get back to the point I'm trying to make. So you have people on your campus that still have testosterone, that still have, plenty of testosterone. They still have penises, they still have all these other things that are strutting around campus just because they changed the clothing. What about a man who maybe couldn't get into another university that he wanted to, and Spelman was maybe another option? So he just said, well, I'll self-identify as a woman, or a woman who couldn't get to another university, but Howard was an option. So she'll self-identify as a man just to get, the education, just to take advantage of the opportunities, maybe scholarships or whatever that would be presented to her if she did that, right? And so it's not all just gender identity that I'm questioning. I'm questioning the integrity. I mean, people have done crazier shit for less, and I just wonder, when does this eventually undermine everything and just say, hey, you know what, fuck it, we're open to everybody. It's no longer all male, no longer all women. We're just, hey, everybody's welcome. Let's all get an education. And I'm not against that, but just go out and say that, right? I'm not against everybody getting an education, but if you're supposed to be an all-male university, you need to have some structure and some things. If you're supposed to be an all-female university, I think you need to keep a standard and have some certain accords that you need to uphold. But now it's to the point where what's the difference, honestly? Because I feel like a man or I feel like a woman, that allows me to transition, no pun intended, between these universities. If you start out at Morehouse, you start out as a man, and halfway through Morehouse, you realize that, you felt differently. You transition over to Spelman. How does that work? I'm confused. But let's look at this other article real quick and kind of just see what they say in the New York Times. And then just kind of run down real quick. I think this is a little bit more detail of an article. Morehouse College, a traditionally black all-male school, says it will accept transgender men. So I guess, okay, so trans men is the woman to man? Okay, I'm hoping that's right. Anyway, Morehouse all-male, historically black school in Atlanta, said it would open its enrollment, but then in Atlanta, we talk about Atlanta, so enough said, right? We know that is the capital for open-mindedness in the black community, correct? And that's odd too, that I talked about when I started this video, that like I said, I have nothing against, anybody. I don't really care. I really don't. But it's just the close associations. And so now you can't be in the black community for this particular thing if you're not supporting gays. And I don't think that's right. Like, I think that there should be a separation. It's not about being homophobic. I'm not afraid of any gay person. It's not fear of nothing. It's just that I don't support the same agendas you support. Hope you get everything you want in life. Hope you get every right and thing that but I'm just not gonna take my time and effort to get behind that. Pause. I'm not gonna to push your message. That's just not what I'm gonna do. Again, like I said, I hope everybody gets everything they want. Like I sincerely mean that when I say these things. I'm just not gonna support everything. I'm just not. I really won't. That's just how it is. And I should have the right to do that, right? If you have the right to do whatever else you want, I should have the right to pick and choose what, I put my support behind. Just like you have the right to support the Den by hitting that like and subscribe button, or you can not support the Den if you don't like what I'm talking about. You have the right to do so. It's A-okay. There's nothing wrong with people not liking everything. You guys got to get over that. Says a shift comes as protections for those in the transgender community are under fire. Interesting. Policy was announced on Saturday will continue to ban enrollment from anyone who identifies as a woman, which is odd, right? This is still odd to me. So the decision was driven by a greater awareness of gender identity. Colleges need to have a clear policy. We found out admissions representatives were going out all the time. People would ask them, does Morehouse admit transgender people? How many people out there are like that? And that's what I say. I thought it was probably like 1%. Like, how big of a deal is this really? And I'm concerned. I wonder if it's the media that makes this such a big deal. Because I'm out and about all the time, all over the place, and I don't see, unless motherfuckers got some damn good doctors or doing a damn good job, or I need some glasses or something, I don't see transgender people like that. I really honestly don't. And again, like I say, maybe I'm not looking, maybe I'm not paying attention, maybe I'm in my own little world, but I don't see that. So a lot of this is saying the same thing. So 2016, St. John's University, an all-male school in Collegeville, Minnesota, changed its policy to consider applicants who consistently live and identify as men regardless of the gender assigned to them. Okay, so it's not just the HBCUs, which is something that I was asking with the last article, so that we figured that out. Again, it's odd. It says the transgender community faces a breakdown of protection under federal civil rights law. Obama administration helped broaden. Oh yeah, we know what Obama did. Through a series of decisions that loosened the legal concept of gender in federal programs. Good for you, Obama. However, it's trying to define gender as a biological, immutable condition determined by genitalia at birth. This definition would affect 1.4 million. So it's really not that much, because you're talking about what, 300 plus, almost 40 million people in America, something like that. So you're talking about a small percentage of society. Okay, interesting. And it's funny that it seems like the majority of them are in certain areas. I wonder how much of an impact that has to do with things. I don't know the science behind it. I'm just a motherfucker talking on the internet. who identifies gender other than what they were assigned at birth. Morehouse announces its new policy a day after the United States military implemented a policy for transgender troops which allows transgender people to enlist, but only if they present as the gender they were assigned at birth. You know, they're also not allowed to transition while in the military. Morehouse student, somebody, queer, non-binary, and there you go, right? And let's talk about it. Let's talk about it right there, right? Let's talk about it right there. Morehouse student, queer, non-binary, which means they don't agree with either sex. So how is he identified as man? It's already problematic right there. And as I'm reading, like I said, I hadn't read this article. I read the other article, but I hadn't read this article. And that answers my question right there. So obviously, this person does not identify as a man because they're queer, non-binary. So they don't believe in either gender or gender fluidity or whatever else. They wash it like the wave, fluid, So isn't this already against the code? How much more of this is going to go? And this is what I'm saying. So you might as well open it up to everybody. It might as well just be, it's no longer all male. It's whoever wants to come. It's a free for all, just like any other college that's available. It prefers the pronouns they and their instead of singular pronouns that exist being erased. Well, like I say, that it gets confusing. And like I said, I'm just trying to address the facts. We'll talk about this more tonight. Who I am on campus, they're trying to kind of remove me from self-identifying myself. You are at an all-male school. You went to an all-male school knowing it was an all-male school. But now you want to change the status quo. It blows my fucking mind. Like, that's that entitlement. That's that self-entitlement mentality. It blows my fucking mind. I don't understand what people are thinking. But hey, let's cater to everybody, right? Let's cater to everybody. But fuck it. It is what it is. MX. And this is what I'm saying. That fucking Mr. is not MX or whatever the fuck it is. Like I'm clicking the wrong shit. Sitting in policy is still going to use male gendered language, and that affects me. Sometimes I do dress as feminine, non-binary person. The way I dress. So when I dress the way I want to dress, it's a problem that affects me. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So you're I'm confused. Mr. Oldham, who was set to graduate, I'm not finna start doing this shit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. Like, I'm not finna this MX shit. It's going to be Mr. Ms. I'm not doing the identity politics. And y'all see, I'm raw and uncut, and I hate to. I'm not editing this shit either. This is like I say, y'all see that I'm truly learning this as y'all. I'm not doing identity politics. Fuck all that shit. It's a male school, so of course they're going to use male language. I knew I was part of the queer community. I knew I was gay, but I got here to Morehouse, and this was different for me. You goofball, you fucking went to an all-male school. What the fuck do you expect? Like, this is what I'm saying, that people blow my mind like they just expect the world around them to fucking change because they feel different. The minority is starting to overpower the majority, and this is the crazy shit. Transgender students now transition while in Morehouse identify women said the new policy ostracized them. No, it fucking doesn't. Something Tatiana Morehouse student accepted when she identified as male transition. This is what I'm saying. You see, this is what I did. Like, all of this was speculation that I had, and this is why I'm glad I pulled up the other article, because the first article wasn't, definite enough. I knew New York Times would get into all this bullshit. This is what I'm saying. So let's just fuck up all the rules because I'm special. I'm more important than everybody else. Fuck rules, standards, and the beliefs that have been established here for however long the college has been around, for years, decades. I know for quite some time. I want to say century. I don't know exactly how long, so I don't want to overassume. But because I'm special, because I'm making decisions that I knew would be against the rules when I came to this university, when I came to this school. Now, because I'm feeling different and I want to change, now I'm mad at the school. The whole school needs to cater to me. This is the fucking problem that we're having today in society. We're going to talk about this tonight. We're going to talk about, I think this might be the topic for tonight. I don't even know. Lonely being the only transsexual on campus feel marginalized and erased because the image that more often is the all-male image. No shit. Under the policy, student transition from male to female would no longer be eligible to matriculate in Morehouse, so how many students might be in transition. Man, this is something you fucking knew. Read the fucking books just because you didn't read the handbook. They give you a college handbook, they got orientations and all this other shit. It is what it is. Not aware if we currently have trans men on campus. Policy was not driven by trans individuals who are on the campus. Our students are unclear if they're welcoming. Our students are unclear if we were welcoming or open to trans men applying, was started by trans men on campus. 1867. My questions keep getting answered, right? I guess I should just read a little further. My questions get answered. Over 100 and something years, right? What is this? 2019. So what is that? 133 plus what? 19. What is that? 152 32? I don't know. My math might be bad. Look, y'all see me live do this. If I fuck the math up, it is fucked up. So about 150 plus years. Let's just say that, right? If my math is wrong, hit the comment section below. Tell me how bad my math is. I'm just trying to go off the top of my head and keep the video going. I ain't trying to keep y'all too much longer. I already talked way longer than I intended. Keeping the college all man was at the crux of the school's history, but obviously not, because you got people who want to undermine that. It's the only black institution in the United States that's dedicated to the intellectual and moral formation of black men, and to allow trans women to enroll or matriculate or graduate from Morehouse would change the moral fiber of the institution completely. It's already changed. He said the new policy was a move in the right direction. I do believe Morehouse needs to be moved forward in an intentional way. Culture of the campus needs to change to support transgender men. What do these teams, do they have school? Do they have athletic teams? And what's going to happen when, that these people can't make the athletic teams? Or if they go to Spelman and the men are strong and they give an all trans woman team. But it is what it is. Mr. Oldham said that leaving or transferring to another school was not an option because they felt at home at Morehouse. No, you're fucking, and this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm talking about, this is what blows my mind. You just said it didn't feel welcoming, it didn't feel accepting once I started doing this and started doing that, but you knew what it was before you got here, now all of a sudden you felt home. But let me finish this video up, because I know y'all tired of hearing me rant. Morehouse brought me the best education I could have. Being here is a dream come true, because this is the college that I love, right? But then you want to change everything up. You want to skew it all up. You want to fuck it all up. Here's the deal, man. I kind of read it and raved throughout these articles. I probably should have read them a lot faster. And again, a lot of this information was new to me, and a lot of it was eye-opening. We're going to talk about this tonight, live 10 p.m. Central to midnight. Every night we have a conversation about something. We have a discussion about something. And if you want to chime in, you have something that you want to include, make sure you tune in tonight. Make sure you follow the Den on all the proper social medias, at Den Show Live on Instagram and Twitter. And you can join the Facebook page. I would appreciate if you give it a like, facebook.com/Den Show Live. And you can hit the links in the description below. Join the groups and all that stuff. We definitely keep the conversation going, and then we bring it back to the tube every evening. But with that being said, hey, look, I appreciate each and every one of y'all who took the time to watch this video, man. Hit that comment section below. Let me know if you feel if I'm right, if I'm wrong, when you agree or disagree, whatever it may be. Hey, look, things are changing. That's all I can say. Thank you for letting me be your host today. I'm Honcho, man. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. And I'm out.